Hi, I'm Ramjini Nambiar. Welcome to The Dope. And today we have with us Miss Grace Solomon. That's the full name, but I call her Grace. And as the name suggests, she's as graceful as she walked into a conference hall many moons away during my time, when one of those times when I've just joined the industry, and I had to attend a conference, and they say, hey, Grace is coming in and she's from Mercury. And I said, okay. And she walked in, and a lady with a beautiful smile, and then thereon we've been friends for a very long time. We keep meeting at all our road shows, our trade events. Welcome, Grace, to my show.
Thank you, Ranjini.
In the time of COVID, I think we're going in with the Namaste.
Absolutely.
I hope you sanitized your hand.
I just
did. You do that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I think it's more a habit now.
More a habit now? Okay. So, I mean, I've read that, right now you are the Associate Vice President for Mercury Travel Luxury segment of that?
Yeah, of Ibix, yes.
Of Ibix?
Yeah.
So, it's important that I would want to understand, and everybody knows you as Grace from Mercury. I think that's what they all talk about. Let's understand from where it all started, where the journey has been.
Great. Thanks, Ranjini, for having me here. It's been an absolute delight and a pleasure to be connected this way. Journey has been a long journey.
Okay.
It's been 3 decades, and I think sometimes when I say that, I almost sound like a dinosaur. But I started way back 30 years ago, and with Thomas Cook, and spent 10 years with them in corporate travel, and then moved on to another great part of my career with Swissair, and moved to Bangalore. So the thing is, I've also been in Hyderabad, then moved to Pune and in Bangalore.
So you pretty much worked all over India.
And then moved to the UK. We spent 4 years in the UK and 3 years in Germany. So I've been blessed to handle the various verticals in travel industry. So I worked with corporate travel, then spent time with airline management, and worked for about 7 years into inbound into India. And here I am handling the outbound business primarily, as well as corporate travel and MICE and everything.
I know that you've been handling Mercury for a long time, and now Ibix taking over. Did that have a lot of impact on a lot of your employees, or is it?
In Bangalore, not really much. I think we've just seen a lot of growth, and especially in the MICE segment, which we were not very strong before. Ibix took over, so it's been a learning curve for many of us, because we think we can see great things happening and things moving definitely in the upward direction. So it's been great part of the dynamic.
It's done good to the industry. I mean, good to your organization.
Yes,
I would say, right?
Yeah, of course. So any change, I think, comes with both. So I think it's just how we perceive it and how we look at it, and
there'll also always be a resistance to change. Very human, right?
Absolutely.
So, and I think with this current scenario, I think everybody, I'm not getting into the COVID situation, where and when and what, but definitely as travel partners, I mean the travel industry on the whole, and now especially since you handle the outbound travel market, what do you see? I mean, how, as an organization, how are you coping up to handle this kind of cancellations, which has been on every other day? I mean, that's the only word every travel partner has been hearing.
So I think it's one of the really bad, dark moments, especially for us in the travel industry. And I think anything happens in the world, our industry is the first one to get hit and affected. And I'm sure you would agree with that. There's no exception with us. It's been really tough. We've just been cancellations and postponements, and there's been a lot of fear. But I think for us, for many of us who are passionate about in the industry, it's the people who matter more than the business. So I always believe, I'm sure business is here today, and I'm sure there'll be opportunities for us to grow it. And I think right now it's to make sure our clients and our business partners are safe. And I think that's our priority right now. And
I mean, people, I mean, of course, definitely travel will be on a hold.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. Corporate travel is completely on hold. People are just doing holidays are on hold, except essential travel.
Yeah.
So I think right now, the last few days, we've been just trying to work on bringing clients back, especially children who are studying in Europe, for instance, the parents want them back.
But are you giving them some guidelines, and are you giving people the awareness? I mean, are you sending out messages to, as an organization,
Yes.
are you sending out messages about how careful you need to be?
Absolutely.
And how responsible you need to be, how responsible a traveler you need to be?
Yes, I
that's
think
the
we
important
are,
way.
and I think everybody is just so inundated with so many messages on social media, and so we just add to it as well when we tell people. And I think it's just most important is to just tell them how we need to just cope with the situation. I think some of it is beyond our control. There's nothing one can do about it, and just continue to hope for the best.
You've worked in an era of, in a time when you physically wrote tickets, right? And now to a time when the online, how are you coping up with the Millennial Traveler?
So I think the most important thing to understand is the Millennial Traveler is extremely a well-informed traveler. Okay, and unlike the past where people were just looking at travel for the sake of traveling, people are looking at experiences.
Okay.
So I think it's for us, it's important to change with times.
Sure.
And I think it's a learning experience for all of us on a daily basis.
Okay.
And I think many times when I have a millennial client, I also end up learning much more from them than what we give them.
Yeah, for you, I'm sure it must be a huge change from an organization which did more ticketing, right? And to get into the luxury market segment right now with Ibix. I'm sure this would be an interesting portfolio to handle, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's nice. It keeps you young as well, right?
Yes, I think so. We all want to, yeah. And I just always say when I say it's learning, I think as long as we keep learning, we keep growing.
How, as an organization, is women empowerment? What's your views on women empowerment in your organization?
I'm here,
Yes.
and I think that speaks a lot. And we have quite a few women managers across the system. If you look at many of our branches, and our HR is headed by women.
Okay.
And that speaks volume.
Okay.
And I still remember celebrating across the organization Women's Day in a very special way, with both the top management completely getting involved with making sure the women in our organization are always felt special.
Okay.
And I think that's important.
Absolutely.
And I think we bring in not just our experience and our values, but we also bring our emotions, which I think is extremely important in the industry. So I think women do have a very important role to play.
Do you love to be an entrepreneur someday?
I haven't yet bitten by the bug yet. I have thought of it on and off, but I think not yet. But I would never say never. Yes.
Never. In fact, I think people are you part of some groups, and do you mentor youngsters?
Yes, I do. I love that.
You love that.
And I think we all have got so much from this industry.
Sure.
I'm sure you'd agree to that.
Absolutely.
And where we are is because we owe a lot to the industry. And I think it's also a responsibility to give back.
Sure.
And I think I see the young people with so much of energy coming into the industry. And I have spent time in Christ University. I was there last week.
Do some guest lectures and things like that?
And I was there also for their Odyssey, which was, and went to judge on creative itineraries on an all-India basis. And I think those were excitement to see what the young people come up with.
Absolutely. They come up with some brilliant ideas.
I really like that. Yeah.
And thank you so much, Grace. And I'm sure that we made it crisp for you, and it didn't take much of your time. And thank you so much for sparing time and coming here.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks to each one of you in the studio, and thanks Ranjani, and wish all of us that this too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
And we'll have great days to look forward to. Yeah.
Thank you for watching us on this show. And I'm sure you would love this and hearing insight about the superwoman of the travel industry, Grace Solomon. Please do like, share, subscribe to this episode. Thank you.